The following is a local resident producer's program. The program content is the sole responsibility of the producer and does not necessarily reflect the views or policies of Oshkosh Media, the City of Oshkosh, or Time Warner Cable.
Ignore him when he talks. Mostly just dribble. We'll be talking to them in the booth, and so we're just. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Eye on Oshkosh. I'm your host, Cheryl Hentz, and very pleased to be joined tonight by Reverend Tom Willadsen. Tom has been around the area doing a lot of wonderful ecumenical work that clergy members typically do in the community, and I can't even begin to list all of the things that he has been either a part of or a champion for and leading the charge. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight, is something that he has done for many, many years. Hard to believe this is November 1st and Thanksgiving is just 3 short weeks away. And Reverend Tom Willadsen is here tonight to talk to us about the Festival of Gratitude. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. It's good to be here, Cheryl.
Absolutely. Pleasure to have you. So, the Festival of Gratitude, why don't we start by you telling us what it is?
Sure.
And how long? Give us a little history of it.
Yeah. Well, the first time we held it in the Grand Opera House, which is what it was in 2010, it was an event because we recognized that every religious tradition, has something to say about gratitude, some way they express thanks, and it was something that could bring people of all faiths together. And we are very fortunate to have the Grand, which is a city-owned building. So in the past there have been services prior to Thanksgiving, and there have always been in someone's church. And no matter whose church it is, someone is not going to feel welcome there. Mm-hmm. But with the Grand, it's public space, it's everybody's space. And the first time we had it in 2010, the Grand had newly been renovated. And so for many people, that was the first time they got to see the Grand in all its glory.
Right.
And it's an event that's free and open to the public, and just a wonderful facility, a good place for us to gather.
Sure. And the interesting thing, I think, about this kind of service or event is, Thanksgiving is not a religious holiday. And yet it is a time when people all over the country come together and be thankful for what they have. Mm-hmm. We do that at Christmas time, I think, too. But Thanksgiving is the time that we traditionally do that. And what a beautiful thing to be able to all celebrate what we have as a community.
Yeah, it's grown into really quite an event. I've been saying this year that it's the largest event of its kind in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And I always pause, waiting for someone to contradict me or tell me there is a bigger event somewhere. But so far, no one has. This year, there's been, I would say, a significant change. In the past, it has been an interfaith event. That is, people of all different religions come on stage and express gratitude. This year, we're going to have non-faith groups coming on stage. Okay. Gratitude is not an exclusively religious thing.
That's true.
And so we have some interesting additional guests, and also some of the people who have presented in prior interfaith festivals will be back, but able to do some different things.
Sure. So what kinds of things, if someone is thinking, that sounds interesting, I'd like to go.
Sure.
What kinds of things will they see?
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that we say it's on November 19th, Monday, at 7 o'clock. That's the Monday of Thanksgiving week. Important that we get that out there. And you will see a wide variety of things. We have an Asian dance group from North High School that just does a spectacular job singing and dancing. We have a man, Dr. Tannen, who's a resident of Oshkosh. I never know which musicians he's going to bring, but he brings his harmonium, I think is the instrument, and he plays Hindu gospel music or Hindu folk music. And we have the Latter-day Saints are going to be singing, and the Rhythm Heritage Group, the drummers, are going to be taking the stage this year as well.
Okay.
Drumming up a storm.
I know you mentioned that it's free, Tom. What is the capacity at the Grand? Because at some point,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want people overcrowding in there.
Yeah, that hasn't been a problem in the past.
Okay.
However, I think there's room for about 600
Oh,
people.
okay. All right.
And we've gotten, I think, into 270, 280. It always depends on the weather as well.
Sure. Yeah, it's, you know, the 19th of November, that's kind of unpredictable.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. So again, November 19th, 7 p.m. at the Grand. It is free and open to the public. Do they have to RSVP to anyone?
No.
Or can they just show
No,
up?
they can just show up. But they can find more information on the Grand's website. If you go to the Grand and then click on events, scroll down through November, you'll see on November 9th there's a photograph from a prior interfaith festival. But also the flyer, the information flyer that you see up around town is in 10 different languages this afternoon.
I saw that,
Yeah.
and I was very impressed by seeing that. I mean, that whoever came up with that idea, it was a very wise idea. I don't know if that was yours.
Well, it's
or,
just been a lot of fun, just a personal challenge to who do I know who knows another language? Or who do I know who knows someone who knows another language?
Yeah.
And chances are there isn't going to be anyone who needs to see it in Norwegian or Welsh. But to me, that's a sign of, first of all, how big the world is, how diverse our community is, and that we want to make an effort to include everyone. We don't want language to be a barrier. In fact, this year, the program is going to be in Braille, and we have hired a person to sign in American Sign Language.
That's very wise. Very wise. Again, as it grows, you're incorporating more. You're incorporating more things into it, and truly making it going from. I like the idea that it's going from an interfaith and non-denominational to something that is just intercommunity.
Yeah,
whether
it really is
you're a person of
community-wide.
faith or not.
Yeah, and I should probably mention, I need to mention, that the Thanksgiving Festival is connected to the Unity and Community Festival, which the city put on in May of this year, May 5th. It was at the Leach, and that was really an ethnic festival where I'm not sure exactly how many different countries were represented, but it was an amazing array of countries and cultures, and it was a beautiful spring day and just a wonderful event. And as we were thinking about, and I was on the steering committee for that, as we were thinking about how do we make Oshkosh welcoming and inclusive and celebrate the wide variety of people we have here, doing one event a year really isn't much. Right. So the steering committee decided to link Unity and Community with the Festival of Gratitude. And that's been wonderful to have the city behind this as well.
Absolutely. So how many different ethnicities are participating?
It's in flux now. I say that organizing these things is kind of like herding cats.
Right, yeah.
In fact, just yesterday I heard from a group that said they had hoped to participate, but they couldn't. So I'm going to say between 7 and 10. Okay. And we'll see how many are actually there on the 19th.
And that could still change.
Right.
It could grow.
Yeah.
You know, and even though it's free, there will be a free will donation taken. You know.
Yeah, that covers the expenses we have for using the Grand. In fact, we've already got some sponsors, and I should mention
certainly.
them.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Oshkosh Rotary Club, Aurora Healthcare, Oracular, and the New Moon Cafe are 3 or 4 agencies. We also have 4 different faith communities who have sponsored, and probably more will come later, but the Baha'i community in Oshkosh, Congregation B'nai Israel, the mosque, and the Wisconsin Santag Society of Eckankar have already stepped forward to to help. And what sponsors do is they help pay for the costs of putting on the festival. We have to tune the piano every year.
Sure.
We pay the staff. And
You're paying
and
for someone to sign
lighting. Yeah.
the event.
Yeah, and we're paying to have the programs done in Braille.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm confident that between our sponsorships and the free will offering we have, we'll more than cover expenses. And then everything beyond the expenses will go toward next year's Unity and Community Festival.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone wanting to participate, this is a program that's on the radio as well, and so obviously you can't see the things that we've been putting up on the screen, but if you are interested in more information or you want to participate in the event, you can call Tom at 920-237-9840. His number's up there right now for those of you who watch on television or YouTube. And again, for those of you at home, Tom's phone number is 920-237-9840. Or you can go to the Grand Opera House's website, which is thegrandoshkosh.org. Again, thegrandoshkosh.org, and then go to their events section, and you can find out more information there. It's free. It's open to the public. You don't need to let anyone know you're coming. You just show up. Again, Monday, November 19th, Dancing with the Stars will be finished by then, so you shouldn't have that kind of conflict going on.
We also don't have a Packer game that night. That's been a problem in the past.
It's a free and clear date, so
Good.
there's no reason people can't go. Monday, November 19th, 7 p.m. Anything else you want to share about that, Tom?
I think in the current climate we have with so much fear, I think this is precisely what our city needs to do, come out together and recognize the great wealth of traditions and diversity we have in this in our community and celebrate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not just a world of fear that we're living in, but a world of a lot of racism and hate-filled things that are happening lately. Yeah. And they're showing up on social media
and this
like
is a
crazy.
chance to respond to that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a great event, and I can't thank you enough, A, for being here to tell us about it,
well, I'm glad
and
you
B,
could have me
for
on.
Spearheading this, for taking this on. Just one more thing that is part of your legacy here in Oshkosh.
Well, it's a labor of love. I really, really enjoy this.
Thank you so much. And you're going to be on the show in the spring talking about another event at the Payne.
Yes.
So we will be seeing you
Sure.
relatively soon. The way the weeks are flying by, it'll almost feel like tomorrow, even though it won't be. Tom, thank you so much. And we will have information about this on our website as well, ionoshkosh.com. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, I'll be talking with folks from Solutions Recovery Center here in Oshkosh. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's not a charity. It's more than a charity. It's about helping people we live with. It's about being the type of person that the 6-year-old version of ourselves wanted us to be. It's about community and looking out for one another. It's about money, yes, but it's so much more than money. It's about friendship and common values. It's about opening doors when others are slammed shut. It's about giving kids a place to be kids and growing up knowing they live in a community that cares about them. It's about making sure that everyone gets to see the dentist, because we want to make sure that they have every last tooth in those smiles. Ultimately, that's it. It's about the smiles, old smiles and new smiles. It's about us, all of us, our community living united, because great things happen when we live united. Will you join us?
Oh no, did I miss the exit?
Hey pal, you look a little lost.
What?
You know your smartphone has GPS, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm driving right now.
Let's text your sister to see if she's texting. Okay, look, I'll help. I've got a map. Okay.
I am done with this distraction.
Not my hairdryer. Hey, no! Ah, that's distracting. Okay, Uncle.
Focus on driving, not the distractor.
Find me a new driver.
Get lost.
Back to the second segment of Eye on Oshkosh. I'm still here, your host Cheryl Hentz, and I'm joined now by three folks from Solutions Recovery, Inc. To my right is Trevor Fenrick. You're the Solutions Recovery Operations Director, and you're brand new at this position.
I am, yes.
Like, how new?
Well, I've been involved with Solutions for about 3 years now. I've been kind of going back and forth doing different volunteer things. It's a primarily volunteer-run organization. So I started just doing general counter work, and I kind of worked my way up into the steering committee, and now I've been asked to take on the role of Director of Operations on the Board of Directors. So, yeah.
So you kind of know what's going on there.
Yeah,
enough to answer.
definitely.
Otherwise, I was going to play nice, and I wasn't going to direct too many questions towards you. But
well, we'll see.
No, do. Very good. Well, welcome. And then to my left, we have, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Well, let me try. We have Jenna Washaleski.
Yes!
Wow!
Whoever gets that right! That was good.
Jenna Washaleski. She is a Solutions Recovery Board member.
I am.
Board member at large, I'm assuming? Mm-hmm. Okay. And Ellie Edwards is to her left. Ellie is the club manager.
I am.
And how long have you been club manager?
Since April, but
Okay.
I've been very active as a volunteer, working my way up and working real hard to get to this point.
All right, fantastic. And how long have you been on the board, Jenna?
I've been on the board for about a year.
Okay, all right. And what brought you to Solutions?
So I am a substance abuse counselor for Winnebago County Human Services.
Okay.
I work, about 50% of my caseload is with teenagers, and the other percent is with Winnebago County Drug Court.
Okay.
So I got into this field because I have family members that are actively drug using. So my passion is there, and I love the idea of a place for people to go that's safe, you can have fun, you have support. So not only do I enjoy going there, but I direct a lot of my clients to go there as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about the history of Solutions Recovery, because it used to be, in its beginning days, it was called something else. Mm-hmm. And then there was another organization that was partnering, I believe, with that group. Give us a little history. I do remember something called Cornerstone.
Yeah.
Cornerstone something or other.
So Cornerstone was the original development, and we merged with another recovery club in town, and that became Solutions Recovery, Inc. That was 10 years ago. And it started off just as a place where people can go. They wanted to be able to have the different type of 12-step meetings there, AA, NA, Al-Anon, all those different kinds of things. And from there, it just kind of grew, 5 years later, they opened up a sober living house, and they started focusing on that. And we've just been adding programs as the time goes on. But we really strive to live out our mission, which is just to carry the message to people that are in recovery or people that are seeking recovery or for their family members. Mm-hmm. We just want to be a resource for people in the Fox Valley.
Sure. It's called a club, and Ellie, you're the club manager. Why is the whole thing a club, or is there just a section of it that's a club? And what makes the club different from the rest of the organization?
Well, we have a coffee counter downstairs with TVs for football games, baseball games, but people can come downstairs and sit and enjoy coffee and socialize with other people in recovery. Mm-hmm. Then we also have a game room, pool table, ping pong, couches to hang out, and they're another area to socialize. And then upstairs we have rooms for meetings. For the 12-step meetings, and people can also meet with their sponsors. Other people, like meetings, like sometimes POs might want to come and meet with somebody in recovery, and that's
PO,
probation officers.
Okay,
sorry.
all right.
And they can come and meet there if there's nowhere else to go.
Sure. I have to say that I did a newspaper article on this organization within the last 2 or 3 months, I think. Maybe it was a little bit long. I don't know. The year is going by so quickly here. But it was a very warm day when I was there. I know that. So it had to be in the summer. And I found it to be very relaxing. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel frightened walking in. It was a little surprising to me that there was no elevator in the place, because I'm sure that there are some folks who are at various stages of their recovery who may not be able to do stairs very well. The nice thing is there's not a whole lot of stairs involved, but that part of it did surprise me a little bit. But I felt very comfortable, very relaxed, and Ellie, I met you then, and you were part of the group that made me feel comfortable. But even just walking in initially, I hadn't even talked to anyone yet, and I didn't feel, frightened or, weird or anything like that. And I know that when the group first started many years ago, and I don't know if they were trying to get this place on Evans Street where you are right now or not, but it was something that had to go before the city council to get approval. And there was a lot of concern by people who were living in the neighborhood, concern for a certain type of person or element coming into their neighborhood. The concern and fear of, are we going to start having a lot of crime now, and a lot of noise and a lot of problems? And those are all legitimate concerns. Certainly, I'm not trying to downplay any of those concerns. But they're legitimate concerns that turned out to be kind of non-issues, because you guys really haven't had problems there.
Yeah.
No.
I'm really happy that you mentioned that it's a warm feeling, because I think everybody knows somebody now who is struggling with addiction or alcoholism. So breaking the stigma to it's not the people that are robbing people or homeless and, committing all these crimes. It's just anybody can be an addict or an alcoholic. And when you go into recovery, you have to change every single aspect of your life. And social aspect is huge, especially in Wisconsin. I mean, everything we do is drinking, going to a bar and whatnot. So to tell somebody that for a Packer game, you need to go find something else to do, and somebody might throw solutions out there, the fact that they're going to walk up there probably really nervous, they don't know anybody, and they can walk into an environment where they feel like it's warm and inviting, that's exactly what we want to hear. So thank you.
Yeah, and nobody paid me to say that, by the way.
And that's the one thing that's really great about Solutions is, being a person in recovery myself, I can find the stigma to be overwhelming in certain areas. But when I walk into Solutions, the first time I ever walked in, I was greeted with, open arms and people that were there that genuinely wanted to help me. And what's great about it is when I go downstairs or into the club area, it's not an exclusive place. You don't have to be a member to be there, which is really cool. We do have membership dues that people that are in recovery or even people that aren't in recovery that want to support what we're doing as an organization can contribute to that by being a member, and you get little cool discounts on coffee and a T-shirt and stuff like that. But the main purpose of membership is to be able to support the recovery center as a whole. So
You guys are a 501c3,
Yep.
and so donations are tax deductible, as they would be with any legitimate 501c3. The warmth, again, they didn't know that I was a reporter or a writer coming in to do a story. They had no idea. The only person who knew was the operations director, who preceded you. And, I walked in, I asked for him. I didn't say who I was or what I was doing there. Nobody demanded to know. They were just very helpful, trying to point me in the right direction. And that's when I met you, Ellie, because they pointed me upstairs, and so away I went. But, I mean, they treated me just like I would like to be treated, the way I treat other people when you first meet them, without an associated stigma.
Exactly. And I mean, everybody in that building knows what it feels to walk through that door for the first time. And it's a sense of belonging. For example, at our run walk that we have every year, the Rethink Addiction Run Walk that's held there, There's over 1,000 people there, and when you go, like, and you look around, you have no idea who's in recovery, who's a family member, who just wants to be there. Everyone looks the same, and everyone is just warm and inviting and having fun and laughing, and that's what we want Solutions to be, a safe place for people to go.
Yeah. You talked about the run walk. Let's talk about that for just a little bit, because that was just held in the last couple of months or so. What kind of, you said about 1,000 people, what kind of money did you raise from that?
There are 4 organizations that receive donations from that: Solutions, NOVA, DARE, and the Community Human Services. Sorry, we raised about, I want to say, 25,000.
Wow.
So, and that's divided
Between the four, but still, that's a very good amount. Now, I'm trying to recall from when I talked with you and the person who was heading up the walk, but isn't that more than what you guys were hoping for? I thought so. So that's, I mean, that's encouraging that folks in the community came out and believe in your cause and donated to it. Not just your cause, but the other 3 groups as well.
When it started 5 years ago, there was 400 participants, and now 5 years later, we had over 1,000.
Yeah,
it's growing.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about where you're located. You're down on Evans Street, at the corner of Evans and Parkway. Okay, that's right. You'd think I could remember that. I was just there not all that long ago, but so many things to try and remember. Sure. And, you know, how do the neighbors, do you have any interaction with the neighbors around there?
We do, yeah. And most of it's great interaction. We try and be neighborly. We try and help keep the neighborhood clean, and we try and do our part to keep up to date on a lot of the issues that may come up in most residential neighborhoods, with codes and different stuff like that. So that's something that I've really kind of taken on in the past year, is just making sure that we've got all that stuff kind of taken care of. And we allow our neighbors to park in our parking lot when as needed, and we just try and do, interact with them as much as possible. We're working this year on doing a little bit more outreach just in the neighborhood in general, as far as having more events outside, and we're inviting our neighbors to be a part of that as well, or just to come down and have a cup of coffee or whatever it is. We want to be as inviting as possible for everyone, and especially our neighbors, because they're a big support, for us.
Oh, absolutely. And it's nice that those fears have been, really put to rest, and there's not problems. I know when the local Muslims wanted to have a place where they could go and worship, there was a lot of concern, a lot of negativity surrounding that use for that building as well. And it turned out to be the same as here. It's a non-issue, really. Again, those fears, you can see where they stem from, but it just didn't turn out to be an issue. And so, now, have you always been at this? What is the address on Evans? Is it 621? 621, okay. Have you always been there for the full 10 years, or is this location relatively new in the last few years or so?
So Solutions Recovery, Inc. has always been located at 621 Evans. And it's a great building. It's been great for us to use. There hasn't been too much terrible upkeep, as far as maintenance costs go. And the one thing you mentioned is handicap accessibility is something we really want to strive for, and we're hoping to be able to possibly raise funds for that in the next couple of years to be able to provide that for people. Because like you said, Ellie was out with an injury. She had a foot injury, and she's one of our, star people there, and it's one of those things where we want to be able to provide that for everybody. But
absolutely.
as you know, it's a huge
It is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Would you be looking at the lesser of the two by just having a ramp, or would you be looking at doing an elevator, which is more costly, but it helps a lot of people, probably more so in the long run?
Yeah, we'd have to do pretty much everything, because the building wasn't even designed for that sort of accessibility. So to be able to do one thing, we'd really have to do it all at once. So it'd be a big undertaking, and it's something we're seriously considering, hopefully, in the next couple years here.
Yeah.
Do a capital campaign.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
One thing we're doing right now is we just got a new roof on our sober living house, and we are going to be getting new siding.
Okay.
So really fixing up our house for the women that live there. And when that is done, we want our community to take a look at it. We want to educate everybody about what we are, what we do, and get a feel for everything that's going on there. The events, everyone's invited. You don't have to be in recovery or know somebody that has an addiction to be there. So,
well, and you mentioned take a look at. We got 3 photos I think we have. So why don't we take a look at those now? And I think the first one that we have here might be the women's sober living house. There we go. That is the first one, yes. So tell us a little bit about this house as we look at it. How many people can it accommodate?
So our sober living house accommodates 4 people, 4 women in recovery, and typically it's been full. So there's always a need. We have a waiting list, and it's been a huge part in a lot of people's recovery that I know personally. Just having a safe place to be able to go after treatment, or maybe some people that are transitioning out of a secure facility. So a lot of different good things come from that.
And so this is where you're going to have the new siding, and you just did the roof?
Absolutely.
So, okay, good. Let's take a look at the next photo then, and you can tell us, what are we seeing here?
That's the coffee counter. That's where you can get coffee and snacks. And you don't see it right now, but there's a TV there. We have a fish tank, and just a good place to sit and socialize with other people in recovery.
Yeah, and when I was there, I found this room. I didn't go in and sit down, but I found it to be very, again, warm and welcoming, and everybody was just having a good time. There was nothing loud or ruckus going on, so that was great. And then the final picture that we have is just the exterior of your building. And so I don't know what this was ever used for in the past. Does anyone know what the building was used for?
We had a church, and then the house was actually the parsonage for the church.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
So this building was primarily used for like the Sunday school, and I think it was used as a school even.
I think so.
And it's been used for different things before we kind of bought it back in 2007, I want to say.
Correct.
But yeah, it's been a great building, and it's big enough to kind of accommodate what we have going on there.
Sure.
And we're able to.
And people, it's nicely marked, and people can easily see the 621 on there.
Yeah.
So great. And you know that the building, it looks smaller than what it really is. I mean, it looks like it's a good-sized building, but it does still seem smaller than what it really is. You get in there, and a very long hallway and lots of meeting rooms. I mean, there's really a lot that can happen there.
Absolutely.
And I wish I had a picture of it, but on the second floor down the hallway, there is, and refresh my memory on who did this. I think it was maybe someone who is actually in recovery and goes there, but there's you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
It's a huge tree with all these different branches on it. Well, tell us. You tell us.
I'm not quite sure who painted it, but it was somebody in recovery. And it has the steps. It's a tree with all of the steps branching off of it.
It's just gorgeous, and you know, a lot of thought and talent went into that. And I remember just standing there as I was walking, because the former operations director gave me a tour of the place. And I remember just standing there looking at this thing. I was just in awe of it because, number one, it's so much talent and love, I think, went into that thing. You talk about a labor of love. That, for sure, was a labor of love on the person's part. But it just, it almost speaks to you as you're looking at it. And I was just so taken with it.
Thank you.
So I wish we had a photo of it.
I know, yeah. And that's one thing that Solutions really provides for people, you know. Somebody who's passionate about something is able to come in there, and we're very open to allowing anybody to pretty much come in and do anything, whether it's artistic. We also have another mural down in the game room it's a big logo of Solutions, and we have those little opportunities for people to be able to come and be able to present their talents and be useful. And that's one thing about getting into recovery, which is difficult at first, feeling useful and feeling like having a purpose. So that was one thing that really drew me to Solutions when I first got into recovery, was being able to come in. And me personally, my hobby is computers and different stuff like that, and they were able to utilize that pretty well, and I've been able to take over a lot of that stuff. And I've put in, 200 some hours, just in the first couple of years, doing a lot of, and that was for a community service requirement. But it was something that I was passionate about, that I enjoyed, that I was able to give back and use some of my talents that I had acquired in the past to be able to give back. And that's something that is amazing about Solutions, that we're able to offer that to people. We're not super restrictive. We're very inviting. We welcome all help. So for people in recovery, or people that aren't even.
Yep. Sure. What is your operating budget on an annual basis?
It's about $120,000.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing that you can do what you do with, I know that amount sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about programming,
Absolutely.
It's really not a lot.
No.
Right.
And not just programming, but maintaining a building of that size, insurance, upkeep, utilities, that kind of thing. So that's not a whole lot of money to do that. And how are you funded? Besides donations, do you get grant money, or how are you funded?
So private donors is a big part of it. People that believe in what Solutions is doing, and then we have our coffee counter and different sales like that. But yeah, primarily we don't get any grants. As to date, we have not really received any grants for the past couple of years, and it's something we look into. The thing about Solutions is it's so unique, and we don't have any professionals working at Solutions, so it's hard to sometimes apply for some of those government grants and to be able to fit in the scope of those things. But private donors have been very helpful, and they believe in what we're doing, and a lot of people in the community have taken interest in what we're doing, so they're very, very supportive of that.
Sure. And then, of course, you're getting a small amount from, the $25,000 that was raised for the run-walk or walk-run, whichever way you want to call it, and so you'll get a piece of that pie as well. But again, it pales in comparison to what your annual budget is. And so if someone wants to make a donation, can they do that right from your website?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's a secured website. So credit cards, is it PayPal? Is it a combination?
We accept all forms of donations.
Okay.
We, online, we'll do like e-check out of your bank account through PayPal. You can use your PayPal account. You can use a credit card or debit card. You can mail us in a check. You can come right down and make a donation with your credit card or
And see the space.
debit card.
Yep.
Yeah, we
See
would
the
love to
space
have you
that's
in
there.
there.
And also one thing that people can do if they choose to make donations on a regular basis, I know that my credit union does this. I'm sure other credit unions and financial institutions do this too. You can actually set it up so that a check, if you don't like having something automatically pulled from your account by ACH, you can just ask them to write a check. Doesn't cost you anything. They write the check, they pay for the postage, and they mail it to your charity. And I mean, geez, that's the way to go. When you don't have to write a check and you don't have to pay for postage. So that's another avenue if you want to make a donation and have it be something on a regular basis. You were going to say something, Jen?
On our website, we also have a wish list. So if
Okay.
you're not able to donate money, there's other options that we have on there that we're really grateful if anyone's able to give that. Also on our website, if you just want to get to know us a little bit more further than this interview, we have all of our programs on there. You can get to know our board members and know just a little bit more about what we do.
Yeah, in fact, I can't think of his name right now, and you don't need to share it, but as I was looking at it, the guy, I don't know if he's the attorney for the organization, but he is an attorney.
Yeah.
I went to high school with him.
Steve Smits.
Yes. Yes. And so that was pretty wild when I was going through the bios and so forth. I'm like, I know that guy.
It's really interesting. We have a very well-rounded board. We have Joe Framke, who is a police officer, and I'm a substance abuse counselor. We have a doctor, an attorney. You know, we have people who are experienced in recovery. We have, you know, lots of experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's good. So, do you have a sense of what's on the wish list right now, by chance?
Yeah. Go for it,
For
Trevor.
donations? Yeah. I mean, we accept a lot of different donations. Excuse me. It's put on the spot. Wasn't prepared for that.
Sure, no problem.
But especially for our women's sober living house, we're looking for a lot of different things like toilet paper, kitchen utensils, different stuff like that you would give to a home, like a women's shelter or something like that.
Garbage bags, soap, hand sanitizer. I think dustpans, brooms, garbage bags.
Even blankets or, you know, pillows. We like to replace all that stuff. So we try and provide that as much as we can.
Sure. You know, I want to talk a little bit about the sober living house. So 4 women can live there. You said that there's a waiting list to get in the house. What's the average stay that a woman has there?
6 months.
Okay, so that's average. Someone could be there less, or could they be there more, or is it?
It's about 6 months program.
Okay, all right. And so you say program. What are they going through? What are they experiencing while they're there? What's the program like?
So there's different phases when they're in the program, because you got to remember that these people are coming out of treatments. So they're weaning out of maybe inpatient residential treatment into our sober living, or a secured facility into our sober living. So we have rules, guidelines, etc. that they wean out of.
Okay.
So it's basically giving them accountability and support.
Okay.
But we have like a group meeting that they held at the house every week. They have to do volunteer work. They go down to the club. So it's a very structured program to keep them motivated and in line with their recovery.
Okay. And is any portion of their recovery court ordered?
Some.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's different.
Sure.
Like I said, everyone's different. It can come from somebody who might be in drug court or someone who's willingly doing it. It varies.
Okay.
It's a very big mix of people that we usually get in the house. Right now, just for instance, we have a couple that are court ordered, a couple that are there just because, you know, they know that that's the right thing for them. Like Jenna said, it just varies for the time that they come in. And what's nice is that it's typically a 6-month program, and that's usually enough to get them transitioned into some, you know, for them to be able to be self-supporting. Sure. And that's the main goal of the program, for women to be able to be self-supporting in the community, whether that be with their family, reintegrating with that, or getting out on their own. And what's unique to our sober living, which is something new that we just started, is minor children can come visit their moms at the house at a specific time during the week as well, which is pretty unique to our program, but it's something that we feel is important for mothers to be able to reintegrate with their children and kind of see where, you know, they're living.
So when they're in the house then, do they, other than that, do they not have contact with family members, friends? What is that like? Give us a sense of what it's like to live in the sober living house.
They do have visiting hours.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's situational. Typically, the women spend a lot of time at first at the recovery club volunteering if they don't have a job or whatever their home situation looks like. Then they're able to go on overnight passes. They kind of work their way up to be able to go out and earn privileges and do new things.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
But visitors are always welcome at the recovery center, and they go over there and visit with them, and there isn't too much restriction. They just have like a curfew and different stuff like that.
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
for safety.
What's the average age of the women in that house, or is that as varied as their situations?
I can give you a broad estimate. It would be between 18 and 24 is typically what we see.
All right.
But, sometime, obviously we don't go any younger than 18, but it's been, I could even extend it to 18 to 39 sometimes.
Sure.
It just depends on the mix that we have in the house.
Sure. So from young adult to possibly middle age, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ellie, I know that you've been very forthcoming with your situation and what recovery, what solutions recovery has meant to you. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Sure.
So tell us how you came to Solutions.
I came to Solutions because I was ordered through drug court to do some community service. So I was told, go to Solutions, and I could do my meetings there too, which are required through drug court. Solutions at drug court saved my life. I'm going almost on 5 years sober, and
Congratulations.
Thank you. If it wouldn't have been for those two, Solutions and drug court, I'd be in prison right now. So pretty much saved my life.
And tell us a little about you were through drug court, so it was drugs, not alcohol, or was there some alcohol involved too?
Mainly drugs. I have 8 felonies, and it was all reoccurring because of drugs. I did crimes to fuel my drug habit. So, and my last time in jail, I was offered drug court, and I took it. So, and it was the best thing ever. Taught me a new way of life. So, and I worked really hard at it, graduated drug court, and continued volunteering at Solutions, and just, I don't know what I'd be without Solutions. I can't see my life without it.
Sure. How long has it been since you've graduated?
I graduated in 2015.
Okay, so 3 years, almost 4 years, because believe it or not, we're winding down 2018. I can't believe it. It seems like it just started. So you no longer have to be there at all. You're there because you want to and because of the difference that it's made in your life.
And with the support from my family, and I just, like I said, I wouldn't know where I'd be without recovery and Solutions. So my family comes down there for activities. My daughter, she became a recovery coach because she saw what addiction did to me, and she's 18 years old, and her goal is to help others now. So.
Well, that's great, especially that someone that young is sort of seeing the destructive path that drugs and alcohol, if they're being abused, can put someone on. And clearly you were on that path.
Yeah, well, she started coming to Solutions with me when she was 13. So, it's, all families are welcome, and,
Yeah. So. Yeah. And how many felonies did you say you have?
8.
8. So I think that this is a testament to the fact that just because, and I'm kind of saying this now to employers, just because someone has felonies on their record doesn't necessarily mean that they don't make good employees or that they're not good people. They are people who have gotten caught up in something, and something that sort of took over their life. Were you sober any time throughout the day, or were you always high on drugs? Or
I called myself a functioning addict, but I couldn't get up and function. But once I did the drugs, I thought I was normal, So, but it didn't work very well.
Yeah. And but this program did, and I think that's a testament to this program as well, because it changed your life. And it saved your life, probably, because if you continued on that path, you would likely have, you said you'd be in prison, but you could very well likely have been dead by now, too, having overdosed.
I had to surround myself with people in recovery and just learn a new way of life and meetings, and just continue to use the tools that were given to me from drug court.
Yeah.
You mentioned employers. So when someone gets into recovery, because I'm not in recovery, And for someone like me, I would have to think about something that I've been saying I want to do for a really long time and then actually doing it. And that's still probably, I mean, I know it's nothing compared to what people in recovery have to do because they change everything.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even wake up an hour earlier, and they're literally changing every single aspect of their life. And so somebody in recovery to me is someone that's very, I mean, they persevere. And if I was an employer and I saw somebody in recovery, like, that's somebody that I want to hire because I know they're a hard worker and they're going to do whatever they have to do to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, this is not to say either that everyone who has several felonies or everyone who has had some problems should be hired.
Right.
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 We're not suggesting
Right.
that either, but thank God for the employers that work with the drug court because they're willing to give folks a chance. And obviously it's successful or the drug court would not be continuing. And I know that I had Judge Scott Wolt on and Barb Key when they first kind of pitched this idea for the drug court. They came on the show. They talked about they're having started this up, and I haven't had either one on for a while. It just hasn't fit in with everybody's schedules. But they have been on a number of times, just talking about the success of the drug court. And here's another one, you, Ellie, who is a success coming out of that drug court. And so I think that people who are in a position of being an employer, they should look at things, just on a case-by-case basis. And you're another one, Trevor, who's, a testament to what Solutions Recovery offers, but someone who has tremendous talent and skill with IT type stuff. And, you've worked through the problems, you're sober, and look at the talent that you have. And, employers just need to look, I think, on a case-by-case basis at people and see what people can really have to offer them. And
that's what drug court gave to me too, was that honesty piece of it. It's it's one thing, because I did restaurant management for a while before I got into my current field, but one thing that I always looked for was people being honest with me about their recovery. Somebody that comes in and tells me, hey, I've got this going on, I do have these legal charges, I am on probation, but this is what I'm doing in my life today to be a better person, and a lot of times you can buy into that. People that are willing to be honest and forthcoming about what they have going on in their lives, that's a huge testament to the kind of person that they are, if they're trying to live with integrity and have that honesty versus, I do an interview with somebody and then their background check comes back and, they were definitely dishonest, and that's kind of what we were talking about with people disclosing that, or whether they should or shouldn't be hired. That's something that I really believe in, is giving people a second chance.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, Solutions works really closely with drug court. And I just wanted to mention that because I work with drug court, our graduations are open to anybody. So we actually have a graduation next week. So if anyone is ever curious to see what that is, it's very interesting to come to that. We show a before and after picture, so a mugshot and then who they are today, and sometimes that's not even, you don't even recognize the person.
That's very sobering to see, no pun intended, but very sobering to see that stark difference there, I'm sure. What day is the graduation?
November 8th.
November 8th, so 1 week from today.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 week from today as we're taping this. And also I want to just make mention to those of you listening to us on the radio, I know you can't see the photos that we put up, and I'm sorry about that. However, you can see those photos by going to Solution Recovery's website, and that is SRI, for Solutions Recovery, Inc., SRI, and then there's a hyphen, WI.org. So SRI-WI.org. And if you didn't get that, just type in your search bar, Solutions Recovery Oshkosh, and it will come up. And there you'll be able to see the photos that we put on here. So, in our final couple of minutes here, we've got about 4 minutes left. Do you also need volunteers at Solutions?
Always.
We're a primarily volunteer-driven organization. So I'm a volunteer. Jenna's a volunteer. A lot of what we do is strictly volunteer work. Ellie puts in a lot of volunteer hours. So we need volunteers for all sorts of stuff. And once again, the drug court gives us a lot of different volunteers. Like I said, that's how I got involved originally. We need volunteers for events, for the run walk, to help keep the place clean when we have projects, whatever we have going on. And I also do a lot of the volunteer coordinating. So if somebody's interested in giving back, they can always reach out to me. My information's on the website as well. So,
yeah, you guys do a nice job on the website of putting a lot of information about each person. You know, sometimes you see websites and they say about us, and you can click on people's pictures, and there's a little teeny tiny bio, and it's like, it tells me nothing really. But you guys do a very nice job with that. And so when we talk about the number of people who come to Solutions, the number of people who are utilizing your services, is there an average age? Because I saw a lot of different folks of varying ages when I was there.
I couldn't say there's a very, if I were to guess, it'd be 18 to 75. You know what I mean? It's just a wide range of ages, age groups that we serve, and even younger than 18, but we do have some teen programming and stuff like that there as well that goes on. But yeah, primarily it's just all over the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say you have some teen programming, because earlier I thought it was 18 and up, or is that just for the sober living
That's for
house?
the sober living house.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't accept any minors into that, but children are welcome always. And we also have, they have like Alateen, it's called. It's a support group for kids that have parents that are struggling with addiction, or I think Narateen, something like that, that they also have. But we're working on other programs like that to be able to serve the youth a little bit more.
And if there's someone out there who has some kind of a program, a 12-step program, or any other kind of program where they're helping folks, are the meeting rooms there open to them, or does it have to be something related to a 12-step type program?
Any program is welcome, honestly, as long as it doesn't take away from our primary purpose or our mission to help people in the community. Our meeting rooms are completely open as long as there's a slot available for that.
Sure. And do you charge folks rent for that?
It's on a case by case. A lot of the 12-step meetings we do they may bring in income through their membership, and so that's kind of prorated differently. But otherwise, we do charge a small fee for like a room rental, like any other organization would.
Well, sure. I mean, you've got to pay for the lights and the heat.
Yeah.
Which we probably don't have heat turned on yet, but it will be very soon. By the time this airs, it'll probably be a heating season. Anything in our last, I want to say in the last 30 seconds that you guys want to add that we haven't covered here?
We're open on holidays.
24/7, 365 days a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I want to, thank you guys for being here tonight. I know you just took over the job, and so this was kind of thrown at you last minute, it seems.
I'm happy to be here.
But you did a great job, and I applaud both of you for your recovery.
Thank
I think
you.
it's wonderful, and you guys are doing a hell of a great job at Solutions. So keep that up, and thank you for all the work that you do, both at Solutions, but as a counselor in your professional life as well.
Thank you.
So. Thanks again. If you want to go to their website, you can always make a donation. Check out their wish list. Christmas is coming, and Thanksgiving is coming. So if you're thankful for what you have and you'd like to share a little bit of that, I'm sure that they would love to be the recipient of some of your gratitude. So thanks again for all of our guests tonight, Pastor Tom and these fine three folks. Thanks to my crew, and as always, thanks to you. We will see you next time. Until then, take care. Keep your eye on us. We've got our eye on Oshkosh.
Yes.